In the heart of Chicago's bustling court system, a scene unfolds that feels all too familiar. A judge, a figure of authority and experience, peers down from his bench. Before him stands a young black man, barely a teenager, his face a mask of apprehension. The air is thick with unspoken prejudice, the weight of a system that often seems stacked against people who look just like him. The judge's expression is stern, his gaze dismissive. He's seen countless cases like this, or so he thinks. He scans the initial report, his assumptions solidifying with every line. Another troubled youth, another predictable path. He's ready to make a swift judgment, to close the file and move on to the next case in a long, grueling day. But then, something stops him. A small detail, an inconsistency, a flicker of something he can't quite place. He pauses, his hand hovering over the gavel. Against his initial instinct, he decides to take another look. He picks up the full case file, a thick manila folder filled with the boy's entire life story, and begins to read. As he turns the first few pages, the judge's world begins to shift. This isn't the simple open and shut case he had assumed. The boy, whose name is Jonathan, wasn't just found in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was a Strata student, a beloved older brother who walked his sister to school every single morning. He was the captain of his high school debate team, with dreams of becoming a lawyer himself, a dream that now felt impossibly distant. The report details his volunteer work at a local soup kitchen, the letters of recommendation from his teachers, and the heartfelt pleas from community members who knew his character. The judge reads about Jonathan's family, his hardworking single mother, who juggled 2 jobs just to keep food on the table, and the immense pressure Jonathan felt to be a role model for his younger siblings. He wasn't a gang member or a delinquent. He was a kid trying to navigate a world filled with obstacles, a world where one mistake could unravel everything he had worked so hard to build. The judge puts down the file, the courtroom's silence now feeling heavy with a different kind of tension. He looks at Jonathan again, but this time, he doesn't see a statistic or a stereotype. He sees a young man with potential, a bright future hanging in the balance. The initial charge was serious being present during an illegal transaction. Jonathan had been with a group of friends, one of whom made a terrible choice. Jonathan insisted he had no idea what was happening, that he was just trying to get his friend to go home. The evidence was circumstantial, but in a system that often rushes to judgment, that was enough to put him here, facing a sentence that could derail his entire life. The prosecutor had painted a picture of a willing accomplice, a kid on the fast track to a life of crime. But the file in the judge's hands told a completely different story. It told the story of a boy who had made one poor decision, trusting the wrong person. Conflicted, the judge picks up the case file for a second time. He reads it again, even more carefully, searching for the truth hidden between the lines of police reports and witness statements. He focuses on the details he had glossed over before. The time of the incident, late at night, long after Jonathan's usual curfew. The frantic text messages he had sent to his mother just minutes before the police arrived, saying he was trying to get his friend out of trouble and was on his way home. He reads a statement from Jonathan's debate coach, who described him as the most morally upstanding student I have ever had the privilege to teach. Each page chips away at the judge's initial prejudice, replacing it with a growing sense of empathy and a profound sense of responsibility. He realizes that his first impression was not just wrong. It was dangerously close to perpetuating a grave injustice. This wasn't just another case number. This was a person's life, a future that he held in his hands. The gavel on his desk suddenly feels impossibly heavy. The judge looks up from the file, his gaze meeting Jonathan's. For the first time, there is a flicker of understanding in his eyes. He sees the fear, yes, but he also sees the hope, the quiet dignity of a young man fighting for his life. The judge clears his throat, and the courtroom holds its breath. He begins to speak, his voice no longer cold and dismissive, but measured and thoughtful. He addresses the prosecution's arguments, dissecting them one by one, contrasting them with the overwhelming evidence of Jonathan's character. He speaks of the importance of looking beyond the surface, of understanding the context and the circumstances that lead people to his courtroom. He talks about the system's flaws, its tendency to label and discard young men like Jonathan without a second thought. He's not just ruling on a case anymore. He's delivering a powerful lesson on justice, empathy, and the danger of assumptions. He acknowledges the seriousness of the situation, but emphasizes the lack of concrete evidence proving Jonathan's involvement. Then, he turns his attention directly to Jonathan. He doesn't lecture or scold him. Instead, he speaks to him with a respect that Jonathan hadn't felt since this nightmare began. He tells him that he sees his potential, that he believes in the person described in the letters from his teachers and community. He acknowledges the poor judgment of being in that situation, but separates it from the boy's fundamental character. The judge's words are a lifeline in a sea of despair. For Jonathan, who had been bracing for the worst, it feels like the first breath of fresh air after being submerged. The tension in his shoulders begins to ease, and a single tear escapes his eye knot. A tear of fear, but of relief. He feels truly seen. For the first time in this cold, intimidating room. The judge's words are not just for him, but for everyone in the courtroom. A reminder that every person who stands before the bench has a story that deserves to be read. In his final ruling, the judge makes a decision that stuns the prosecution. He dismisses the most serious charges against Jonathan, citing a lack of credible evidence. Instead, he sentences Jonathan to a mandatory mentorship program and 200 hours of community service, to be served by tutoring younger students in his neighborhood. He frames it not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for Jonathan to use his talents to uplift others and to learn from his mistake in a constructive way. He tells Jonathan, "Your life is not defined by your worst moment. It's defined by how you rise from it. Don't let this experience crush your spirit. Let it fuel your ambition to become the lawyer you dream of being, one who will fight for others the way your community fought for you." He wants Jonathan to understand the power of second chances and the importance of using his own future to create them for others. The courtroom erupts in quiet gasps and murmurs. Jonathan's mother, who had been praying silently in the back row, breaks down in tears of gratitude. Jonathan looks at the judge, a man he had initially feared, and mouths the words "thank you." The judge simply nods, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. He had entered the courtroom that morning a jaded official, ready to process another case. He would leave it a changed man, reminded of the profound human impact of his work. He had looked at a young black man and almost saw a criminal. But because he took the time to read, to listen, and to see beyond his own biases, he ended up seeing a future leader, a beacon of hope, and a powerful reminder that justice is not found in swift judgments, but in profound understanding. This story serves as a powerful testament to the idea that people are more than the labels we assign them. It's a call to action for all of us to look deeper, to question our own biases, and to lead with empathy. Jonathan's case could have ended very differently. It was the judge's willingness to pause, to reread, and to reconsider that made all the difference. It shows that true justice requires not just reading the law, but reading the person. It's a story of hope, redemption, and the incredible power of a second chance. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that challenges us to see the world and each other a little more clearly.